Uh-huh. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. What's going on, world? Let me check. What's going on, world? Let me check my laptop real quick. Okay. Got everything set up on the side. Voice projecting on accident. That's what happens, man. You carrying bass. Just carrying the tone. That's all it is. And a quick little, hold on, man. Let me get situated here. Gotta check the numbers. All right, here we go. So the last one was 234. Let's see if we can do this here. This one, it seems kind of thin. This dry erase seems kind of thin. Let's go black. Keep it classic. Let's go black. All right. We shall go black. Uh-huh. So this is TTH 235. Let's see how well that translates in the camera. TTH 235. I could have afforded to put a little lower maybe. And so that's okay. You know, the dry erase marker isn't that great, but I'm not here to complain really. I'm not, I'm working with what I got here. Hey man, the last recording was actually on the 20th. Last time I did a recording was on the 20th. So, excuse me, the 20th of December. Today is the 9th. So I want to pull out the calendar real quick. If this shit will load. So we'll go one. So about 2 weeks of no recording. Now, if it was up to me during the holidays, I would have recorded, but I guess I'll take this time to just kind of do like a little life update. And I'll kind of just expound on that a little bit because, here, let's just do this. So the 20th would have been a Friday, I believe, if not a Saturday. So we'll see, man. Because I'm pretty sure in that recording I probably had the suit on, and it's funny because it's like I'm gonna go to the dry cleaner and get my other suit. So the suit you just saw on 234, that suit I need to bring to the cleaners at some point, and then the new one I'm gonna get from the cleaners. Hopefully I get a chance to wear it tomorrow. If everything is, I don't know, bro. We're gonna see how things go with scheduling and all that. We're gonna get into all this in a second, all right? Just a life update, a quick life update. I mean, before I decide to jump into any topics here, they took the clock out because it was useless. In this particular room, they took the clock out because it wasn't doing any justice. People were a little late, people were a little early. If I'm in the mood today and I get to flowing, I might just go and ask for extra time in this room, but I really might just save energy for tomorrow, if we're being honest. So we'll see. I might just save some energy for tomorrow. I do have a couple topics I could speak about, but yeah, we'll do this, man. We'll do this right here. As you can hear it, throat's a little messed up at the moment. Pause. But one thing I always talk about is this university mindset. You see, we got the university gear on. So when you get the university gear on, there's a reason for that. University mindset is very simple, man. And it's been 2 weeks, so maybe things are going to sound a little different. But a lot of people go to colleges, universities, community colleges, vocational institutes, technical colleges, culinary schools, art schools. Everyone goes to these different schools after completing K through 12 school. Some people are smart enough to just skip the whole thing. People go to school and they go to classes after completing their schooling classes from high school. A lot of times they do it to better themselves. A lot of people want to better themselves. They want to get a specific degree or a specific certificate that'll certify themselves, right? Specific degrees that'll command and demand more of a higher wage. Sometimes it falls through, sometimes it doesn't. My thing is this, right? Yeah, if you want to be a surgeon, if you want to sit there and surgically cut bodies open and do operations on people and save their lives, You want a certified person. You want someone with a specific degree. That's fair. What I'm saying is just your simple existence up to this point in life. You understand? Before you got that degree, before you got that certification, before you got that specific wage that started making you a more valuable person to society or just a human being in general to yourself. Before you even got there, you have to remember you yourself, your soul, your whole human existence was valuable. It was certified. You understand? And the way you can certify it is just simply looking at the degrees of the degrees of things in your life that you have survived, withstood, and handled up to this point. Once you start to get a grasp on that, once you start to really recognize those things, you'll realize that you can certify your soul. You understand? You're not just some human being existing here. You know, there's a reason, I guess, that they say things like, you know, humankind, if you will, mankind, if you will. You know, a lot of times you have those insects and those animals, they're a little more hive minded, if not, you know, so they say more beast like, or more, um, they just live off of instincts. You know what I mean? I forget the exact words and terminology here, but they just live a certain way. We have a bit of consciousness to us. We have a bit of free will to us. We have a bit of, you know, we're able to operate a little more freely compared to these animals and these insects out here that are kind of just, they're born with a certain level of power that was inherited from their parents. You know what I mean? We have to develop ours. We have to break our bodies down, develop it, and to keep getting stronger and stuff. But even with that being said, the soul has been active and observing through your body this whole time. You understand? Whether you have complete control of your soul and spirit or not. And that'd be a whole nother conversation. My whole thing with university mindset is I just want people to understand that, like, within yourself, you don't have to go to any external, you know, here's the certification degree that validates my existence, or just validates me as a human being or as a person. I want people to just start validating and loving themselves, loving and respecting themselves. That's the core of it. Loving and respecting themselves. Being a little more conscious of how you love yourself, being a little more conscious of how you respect yourself. More so every day, as often as possible. That's all I want from people. I want people to just do that for themselves a little more. Is it easy? Probably not. Do I have it all down pat? Do I have it all figured out? No. This is actually something that I'm working on. This is also not why I'm necessarily putting this out into the future. It's because I might be here at one moment and then I might be somewhere else in the next moment. There's no telling. You understand? So like I said, this is being recorded in January and it looks like it's being put out in June. So it's me speaking from the past into the future self. Any wisdom, you understand, any wisdom that I can impart from this time period and put it into the future, I'm going to try to do that as often as possible every weekend. So that's what I've been doing every single weekend, you know, up to a certain point. So we're going to get into that in a second. So university mindset is just more or less doing your best to look within as much as possible, as best as possible, just trying to look within. One second. Yo. Your boy over here hearing shit. It might just be a little router up top. Unless it's a hidden camera. If it's a hidden camera, fuck it. That was kind of weird. So yes, university mindset is like the fact that you simply don't need to go to, let me turn off the lights over here. No, it's fine. You don't need to go to anything external outside of yourself to validate your existence. You understand? You were valuable on the way there. Remember, a lot of times it's not the destination, it's the journey, correct? My thing is this. You start looking within yourself, there's a whole school of thought, things that you can learn from, things you can really reflect on and just learn from yourself. I'd rather people pull from there to validate themselves than to look at some other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. In the spirit of competition, if you were a boxer like I was, You'd want to compete with others. You want to test your skills against others who are refining their skills in their way with their body. You understand? You could be like me, 5'5", and you deal with someone who's 6 foot, who's trying to refine their skills within a 6 foot body or a frame, whatever they have and whatever genetics they're given. And you're putting your skills to the test. That's something beautiful. You would need another person to validate your skills. What I'm saying is just simply your soul's existence and the fact that you are someone who is deserving of love. You don't have to look outside of yourself. You don't have to look for the certification and degree to start loving yourself more. You don't have to look for the higher wage to start loving and respecting yourself more, because this number system that you didn't create is giving you a value now. You don't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. I don't think anyone should. A lot of this stuff is elementary for some people. This is just a friendly reminder for, most of us, if not those that deserve to hear it. For the first time, if not, the most recent time. So yeah. And that's my thing. Like I say, when I'm out here on campus, you get access to these university spaces and places. What is it that I can do here? That I can share. So a lot of times when I come out here, I get a level of peace. As much as I'm here to do some work and sometimes refine my wisdom and my knowledge, there's a level of peace and wisdom that I'm able to kind of cultivate for myself here when I'm on these, I'm right here on campus right now, university spaces and places, that's why you see me pull. Oh, here we go. You see me pull up from campus to campus. You see me pull up campus to campus with different university crew necks and hoodies. You know what I'm saying? They know I'm a college kid or whatever, Nah, they don't know I'm a college kid. They just know I'm on campus, if that makes sense. But anyway, while I'm here, that's a whole nother story. While I'm here, man, I get a level of peace and wisdom. That's the point I'm making. Peace, quiet, and wisdom, if you will. And it's very selfish. It's very for me, which isn't a bad thing. Sometimes a lot of people need to start doing more for themselves personally, whether that is a level of self-care, some self-leveling up in terms of knowledge and just wisdom, even giving yourself and allowing yourself to have a level of peace and quiet. My thing is this, man. When I'm here, I was doing it enough times to realize I should probably start imparting this wisdom to other people. You understand? I get a level of peace and wisdom here. I started to get access to these rooms, these conference rooms, these little talk rooms here. I started to get more access to this, and I was like, let me just share this. Let me impart this energy and wisdom to people. And here we are. So we're taking the long way to really explain all these things. We're taking a long way to warm up the vocals. I'm starting to prove to myself that I'm not able to speak yet, which is probably a good thing. It's probably a sign that I shouldn't be speaking right now, for being honest. The fact that I'm having a hard time laboring just to speak and talk out loud. We might slowly be getting towards the end of these university mindsets, if this is the case. But like I say, we'll get over this sore throat and cold or whatever. I had it for about a week. I was fighting through it. I had it for like 3-4 days. And then I fought through the 3 work days to get my pay recently. So, I just got off my Friday was yesterday, even though today is Friday. But we'll get into that. It's really interesting because the rhythm got broken up. My body was so used to we got days and dates coming up. You understand? Let me check the calendar real quick. We had days and dates coming up. So the last recording would have been the 20th. Excuse me. The 20th, which was a Saturday. And then 25th was on a Thursday, it looks like. So the 25th was Thursday. That means New Year's Day, was Thursday too. So after the 20th, I pretty much just took time to the day right, the weekend right before Christmas. I probably went to the Beyblade meetup on Sundays, went over there to tabletop. Did a little thing, hung out. We did our thing, whatever. whatever event it was. It was either Mars' event or it was mine. I don't remember exactly. But more than likely a success, like just like a fun time, as long as everyone had fun and enjoyed themselves battling and whatnot. My thing is this: Christmas time came around. One second. There we go. I like that I have the feature to just stop and go and all that because I hated having to crop clips and put them together and stuff. But here we are, TTH 235. The Truancy hour. TTH, the Truancy hour 235. Staying strong. Pause. And doing what it do. Doing what it do. Check this out, man. Just probably just talk through this one and just test the vocals here. Christmas time came around, and like normally I would have came here on campus. I would have came back, found a little whiteboard, found a little conference room, find a break room. I mean, not a break room, like a little conference or study room. Excuse me. And yeah, I would have got back to recording. I would have set up the laptop, played some, some plastic duck simulator on the side. I would have had everything going. I would have just had things going. You understand? So my thing is like, my dad had woke up that morning. He was just they were sitting around watching football, and he had asked, "Do you guys want to go get something to eat for the holidays?" Now me, I'm not thinking much of it. I'm just kind of like, in my mind, I'd rather just go upstairs, work on some recordings maybe, and if not that, leave the house, go to campus on the holidays because there's always someone there. There's always security there, so they'll let me in as long as I have my badge. So go to campus and record. Find a room and record because it'll be less staff and less people just in the building. Staff, students, people, whatever. There's some weekends where there's students. There's like students and new hires and shit like that, all in the same kind of like conference area that I'm usually at. And that's rough because then I have to go to another room. And even then I'm like very careful not to project too much when I'm in that room, I guess. But anyway, yeah, he asked, and then I'm like, man, this is probably a break I need. And I ended up taking him to International Lobster Rolls, the place where we get lobster rolls after Beyblading usually. So anyway, we go there, and it's pretty chill. Shout out to my guy Hyan. We end up getting some food. I get to introduce my brother to like the lobster and crab bombs. We got some fries, obviously, and then they each got lobster rolls. I decided to get chicken wings, but I should have got a grilled cheese, honestly. They got these lobster grilled cheeses, which is pretty good. So yeah, man, we just spent Christmas together, and then he was still, because I paid for the meal there, he still wanted to spend some money, so he was like, "Shit, let's go get some Chinese food and take it home." I'm like, "Go damn." So we're just walking around because he wanted to go to some very specific stores that were like closed that day, which I was surprised at. I was actually surprised that certain supermarkets and stores were actually closed that day, which isn't, I guess it isn't too surprising because, usually they're Asian restaurants and like certain stores, they stay open on the holidays because even if some of them are Christian, they're not like super Christian, if that makes sense. To the point where they're like, I'm going to take a day off. And, I'm going to, what do you call this? I'll take a day off and whatever. Let me not speak on them. Let me not speak for them, excuse me. So my whole thing was like, how do I explain this? Sorry, I'm looking at this car park. That's crazy. We have the Chinese food and all that, So imagine that we had like lobster roll food, seafood, and then when we get home, I'm thinking I'm gonna wait and I started digging into the seafood. I mean, to the Chinese food. I'm like, hold on, man. Let me just start eating this. Fuck it. I start catching the itis. You know, your boy got to fall asleep before I go back upstairs and start recording again. But nonetheless, I was getting work done. So that happened. You know, it was Christmas. That week at work, it was pretty chill because I believe I only had one work day because the holidays were like on a, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day were like Wednesday, Thursday. So that threw my whole schedule in the middle of the week off for work. And then next week, fast forward, I don't remember what was happening that Saturday. Oh no, I do remember. So that Saturday ended up being, and you could find these videos. These videos are on my channel. It was pretty much if you look up end of the year like Beyblade at the end of 2025, like last three events. How do I explain this? It's last weekend of Beyblading 2025. Look that up on my channel maybe. Just type in Cinco Bane last weekend of 2025, and I put Rip Slime like Mata Ao Himade, excuse me, Mata Ao Himade. That song, I put that on in the background music for this video because I was looking for the lyrics of that song, trying to figure out what it was about. So leading up to this week, I'm trying to figure out what that's about. I'm thinking it's a Christmas song because they have like jingle bells and shit. It's very relative, but it does have like a I don't know the words, not connotation, but a thing about ringing the new year in. They speak about it towards the end of the song. I didn't really catch it because they're rapping in Japanese, so I don't know what they're saying. But it's really interesting because I was like, man, that's some end of the year shit. And I'm like learning Duolingo. I'm like, I'm like, how far into Duolingo now? Like, how many days? But anyway, fast forward. We're fucking, Saturday's Federal Way tournament, Beyblade tournament. Go to the tournament. We, I get just a couple clips recorded here and there. Thinking I'm gonna do some individual blog and stuff. I did a bit of that. You know what, bro? I would just put it right here. It's not gonna look either. Well, you might have to actually do the. Should I do the beanie? This may or may not work. I look crazy. I got the Hunter beanie with the weirdo mic right here. It might work. So, let's see. This might work, all right? We'll see if this works. I'm gonna kind of play it back and check it out in a second. But yeah. Anyway, I go to Federal Way. Shout out to Melon 420. He won in plastics, and we are what's it called? We're Beyblading plastics metal fight. I'm recording, getting the clips in. Bro, me and Melon, we found this bro, it was like a claw machine arcade. And I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. So like I said, it's some magical weekends, bro. And then obviously showed up to Tabletop on that Sunday. Go to Tabletop Village that Sunday. Hold on, let me make sure the blue light's on. Okay. I did drop it earlier, and then like I just don't know what's happening now. I'm sick, bro. All the faculties are not here 100% like they usually are. We're barely over 50. It's like, nah, I feel hella healthy. I'm just stuffy. It's just nasty. But it's that time of the year. So anyway, here's the point I'm making. Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, 2 Federal Way Beyblade tournaments. 2 Beyblade tournaments in Federal Way, excuse me. Sunday, we do our casual meetup. I mashed the videos together to like time it for like 4.5 minutes. So then it ends with so that all the clips fit with the song and it ends perfectly. And yeah, video was great. Put that out on like New Year's or something. I think it dropped on like New Year's. And then yeah, man, it was that's what it was leading up to it. So that would have been 27th, 28th. I worked that Tuesday. And the thing was, I was supposed to work. So New Year's Eve would have been Wednesday night. I did a live stream on Wednesday night, and I would have been working Thursday, New Year's Day. Now this is the weird thing. So Wednesday, I did a live stream Wednesday, not night, but like Wednesday afternoon, and I was like, let me see what I end up doing, bruh. You know what I mean? Like leading up to New Year's Eve night, and I just started feeling a little lightheaded. I was like, I don't know, man, something's off. So anyway, even though I went out, I didn't stay out, if that makes sense. And then by like, was it Wednesday night, Thursday morning, so like 1 a.m., I'm like waking up or having a hard time. I'm having a hard time sleeping basically because I keep having to roll left to right, and then one nostril's filling up, the other nostrils. Like you're opening one side, you're opening the other side every time you flip sides to sleep. And I just called out. I was like, yeah, I'm having a hard time breathing right now. Something's a little off. I just feel kind of sick. So the whole like Friday, Saturday, bro, I'm feeling like shit. I'm just like, damn. I'm over here just like coughing and blowing my nose, and then what I'm saying, I keep a little, what do you call this, man? I had a kombucha that I drank probably like Thursday or Friday night, and I put some water in it, so I had a little bit of whatever. I just would hock loogies in that joint. I'd be like, man, because I can't keep getting up and then going to the toilet. You understand? Keep going, getting up every second just to get that out. So like I had to spit it right away, because you don't let that stuff build up in here. At least for me, I don't. I spit that stuff right away. When you see me in public, I'll hock a loogie, man. If it's there, I'll get it out. Get that thing out of there. That's just me. Anyway, man, fast forward all this shit, man, because it's just me being sick for like 2.5, 3 days, and then by the time it's time to go back to work, I'm like, I'm feeling better. I'm just a little sniffly. You guys will just see me blow my nose from time to time. They're like, do you need a mask? I'm like, I'll be good, bro. I'm good. So I'm over here walking around. I start blowing my nose here and there, washing my hands, every time and all that shit. At the job, man, how do I explain this shit? Like, I'm over here. The first day was kind of rough because it was like coming back to work. Second day, I was like, this is smooth, man. Ain't shit going on today. Third day, we got back to being busy, and I was like, yo, I'm good. I got good energy. We knocking this out. So here we are today after all this. I say this all to say, man, it's like, you know, I I was thinking about this, man, because the other live stream I did was Taco Tuesdays. I did Taco Tuesdays earlier this week, and it was really interesting because someone had asked me about my New Year's resolution, and I was like, I don't do those. I'm not against those. I just don't do them because whatever I feel like I should be doing, I'll do it right away. The point I'm making is this: if there's bad habits I need to cut, man. If there's bad habits I need to cut, I go cold turkey, especially when I know it's right. Because like when I stopped drinking, like I said, my birthday was the 25th. It's the second or the third. And in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, you know what, man? I got like 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks, excuse me, till my birthday. Because I'm going to cut it off on my 30th birthday. And I'm going to stop drinking until I'm 40, but I got to stop. So I'm going to give myself up to my 30th birthday. That's what I'm thinking. Couldn't even make it. I got to the third, and I had blacked out the night before. I was tripping. I was like, damn, bro. No, I got to stop drinking, bro. So I just went cold turkey that day on the third. I thought I was going to make it. I was like, damn, I just feel bad. You know? Just wasn't feeling good. I was like, damn, I ain't feeling this shit. Fuck that. Pause. So I go cold turkey with that stuff. Now with this stuff, it's like something I'm noticing. This is like a weekly habit for me to try to get here and get a room. If I don't get a room here, you know what I'm saying? I try to get it the next day. Some days you won't see me recording on Friday. Like I say, check these dates. Because, sometimes I'm able to record on Fridays, which is like today. Other days, I'm just busy or I'm doing shit. So I'm like, I ain't trying to do this right now. Let's not do it this week. And then I'll just wait till Saturday. As long I'm gonna keep doing Saturdays as long as they're available to me, because those rooms are pretty nice. You know what I mean? The weekend rooms are nicer than because Friday is cutting it close. Friday's cutting it close. That's why I settle on this room here. But it's also like the best room to have on this day because the other, like, I don't know how to explain it. On the weekdays, the other shit just be noisy. You understand? When we're on campus, weekdays, Friday's still a weekday. It's the end of the week, but it's a weekday, right? But because it's the end of the week, I just feel like the energy for end of the week is like it's a little. I ain't gonna say rowdy, but it's a little more. Like shit, it's Friday. So this the whole hallways and the conference areas, study room areas, even all that. Everyone's just like get out, because they got through the week already. You know what I mean? The need for the double cups of coffee and shit and the energy drinks is done. So all that energy is kind of, I don't want to say dissipating, but more or less it's starting to, it's gone. So, but yeah. I mean, again, I was thinking earlier, I was like, this might be a sign. Let me see the time here 30 seconds, 30 minutes. I'm tripping. Um, it might be a sign to just kind of save the vocal cords a bit. I'm speaking a lot of nonsense sometimes, but at the same time, I have little spurts of facts and energy. And I was at the height of it. You have to understand, I was knocking out 3 to 4 videos a day and night on those Saturdays because I would sit there in the room like I have access till about, what time's it right now? Hold on. Yeah, I would have access for a good amount of time, like a really good amount of time. And, one of the videos that I ended on, let me see the time here. It might have been how important is money. So let me check something. It might have been that because if it's saying the 20th, that'd have been a Saturday. So yeah, that was when I last rocked the suit. And that one, there was someone who walked in on the room adjacent on the other side. So I like to move the little panels in the room and shit. This guy who was moved in on the other side, I actually used to know guys to kind of work with him on that area. But he was saying like, don't worry about it, bro. Go ahead and keep using the room. And I had opened the door like, bro, you need to use the room. You about to do some cleaning because I didn't know he started working, nights in that section now. He's like, nah, you good, bro. That's what he said. You good, bro. Whatever the hell he said. Go find the video. You'll see it at the end, towards the end, or you might hear it. I should say. Um, but it's just like I said, bad habits. I go cold turkey. But when it comes to these habits here, this habitual, you know, consistent like video recording and you doing the hard work here, like this kind of effort, you have to be on top of it. You understand? You got to be on top of this. I literally gave myself 2 weeks off. I was doing other stuff though. Like we got back into the rhythm of Beyblading on the weekends, knocking out 2 to 3 events. Just being there from like what 11, if not 12 to 5, 12 to 3, 12 to 4, whatever. Locking in like it's half of a shift, like a part-time shift, just at the tournaments, and then the Beyblade meet being there for about anywhere from 4 to 5 hours. It's the same thing, just utilizing those weekends and just spending time with friends and meeting people and stuff and just having a good old time. And I was so just consumed with the work side of it, or just going to work and then doing my work, that here we are. You understand? Here we are now, where your body got a break, it got sick. It was almost like a sign to just sit down for a second, give that shit like a month or a couple of weeks to breathe, and then we'll get back into the whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because everything switched up, man. I literally wrapped up Dragon Quest 2 during that time period, probably. More than likely. I started really grinding on Moonstone Island. I really started to pick up Octopath Traveler 0 again during that time period. Like I was just picking up everything. And even like as of right now, last night I completed Moonstone Island. I started doing all the little cult stuff underneath the basement. If you don't know, you don't know. But I was doing that stuff on Moonstone Island, and yeah, all those videos exist, and they're compounding, and they exist, and they're out there now. Actually, I still need to upload them because the files are still here, so I'm about to go upload them in a second. But right now we're just doing some recordings. But yeah, man, it's really interesting. Like to the fact that I can do, like, if you think about it, say I do one today and I do another one another like half an hour, right? This is the point I'm trying to make too, and this is what I really enjoy about how I'm spending my time in my life right now. Because when I look back at this time period, hopefully I'm able to look back at this while I'm living in Japan, how consistent I was. I'm trying. I literally stopped live streaming as much as possible, and instead of having 1,800 watch hours, I'm still hovering at 1,798, like in that zone. And it's like whatever efforts are being put into the video stuff or like whatever is being created, it's not going away. Like it's all still there. You know what I mean? Everything compounded to 1,800. I couldn't reach my 3,000 with my style of videos in my area of effort, if you will. So nonetheless, I was proud, but it's really interesting how it played out. But I say this to say this, man. I do this today. I do one more. I do one tomorrow. I do another one, if not a third. That's 4 weeks worth of content because they're each coming out weekly. How could you not do that? You understand? This is what I want to impart on people, other forms of wisdom and just understanding. Like, if you have the time of day to do things like this, whether you're doing a video, and I'm shooting for about, I used to do an hour. I used to do an hour long live stream, and I would call that the podcast. And I would be outside at the park at a bench. You know what I'm saying? I would do that shit. And then here we are consistently, just like, let's do a pre recorded, very concise, very intentional, like just, phone right here in the charger. You know, I ran for the bus and I realized that my back, like the small pouch of my backpack was open. So I don't know if the charger popped out or not. Hopefully it's at the house on my bed still. If not, I got to buy a new charger, which sucks. And if that's the case, never mind. I'm going to ask someone for a ride and be like, hey, let me know if you're trying to go to the mall. I need to buy a charger. It's fucked up right now. But yeah, so everything is just like I said, like everything aside from like that small setback, everything is working itself out. And that's the thing, is you get the ball rolling. For me, I was upset because I was on such a consistency and like a high level. In 234, I had the highest energy and output in that time period, and I was dwindling at the end of the day. My energy was dwindling at the end of the day. I was talking with people, I was catching up with people, I was giving energy to other people throughout the day as much as I was recording on the side. I was like, they're not responding to me. I'm going to do my thing. If I'm not doing my thing, I'm going to speak with them and reach out to them. And I wasn't getting my reciprocation, but that 2 weeks gave me an idea where I was like, yeah, I don't need to deal with everyone. I don't need to keep dealing with people. You understand? So anyway, I say all this to say, like, this shit working itself out, man. How could you not do that? I'm over here shooting for, like I said, I was doing more than an hour because I was trying to get my hours in. So I would do an hour's worth of live stream. And I told myself, like, hey, man, the max we're doing now is like 50 minutes. We're not going over 50. 50 is fine. Pause. You know what I'm saying? 50 minutes is okay. So that's what we're doing now. It's like, so I'm over here monitoring the shit right here, the clock or whatever, a little time. I'm monitoring that stuff. I got a panda left and right so you can see that TTH 235. But I'm gonna leave it at that, man, because I got a lot of time still. I said it took out the clock already. But yeah, that I got time on the clock still, so I'm probably gonna utilize that. I might try to ramble for another 40, 30 to 40. Because why not? I'm not dying, and it's good to just kind of get everything lubricated, pause all over again, just get to the talking again. And it's like, how could you not? I want people to think about that for yourself. If you're someone on YouTube and you want to start creating content, or if you're someone who just makes videos in general, whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever platform you use, I just want people to do their thing. You understand? I just want people to do their thing, man. I don't like, I get really annoyed when people are like, come to this social media platform, come do this, come do that with me. I'm like, I don't want to do shit with you. You know what I mean? There's some people who are very annoying like that. And I'm like, you see me doing my thing already. I just want to do shit the way I'm doing it. It's been working for me. You understand? People find the gaming shit. It was intended for people to find. There's not really too many Dragon Quest people. Or even like whether I'm speaking over the Dragon Quest videos, whether I'm speaking over the Pokemon videos, whatever it is, I'm just putting it out there, man. I play it, I record it, I put it out there. People are like, I prefer if it was live. I was like, I don't care about your preference. I have to create what I'm creating. I just have to do what I'm doing. You understand? People want me to do what they're doing for their reasons, and I'm like, bruh, anyone who hangs out with me knows. It's like I'll sit there and have a conversation with you the same way I'm having this type of conversation right now, just on the fucking camera. I would normally have that conversation with people in general, in public, with people I know, depending on the situation, depending on the person. And people get real annoyed by it. People don't want to hear that shit all day. People don't want to hear me talk all day, and that's fine. And that's why I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So I'll just, because I need someone to speak to. That's one thing. I need someone to talk to. I need to get some energy out. I need to get some communication out. I gotta do you understand? Let's just record it, because these are thoughts I would have thought of anyway. These are things I would have said out loud anyway. I put it on live stream. This is what the Truancy Hour is all about, man. Just getting the conversations out, saying it out loud. And like I said, I probably look back a year from now. Someone might point out this, hey, you remember that 235 episode? I was like, yeah, I probably do. I don't know. Like, if it's a year from now, I'll probably have a whole different mindset. I probably don't even agree with who I am right now. I probably don't even care, because we're constantly moving. But you're seeing someone documenting themselves live in the flesh consistently every week and every weekend. You see someone just being honest and vulnerable. I see these topics where I just have these revelations in my notes. I write them down, jot a couple notes, and then I expound on it when it's time to get the rooms and stuff, and I get everything ready and situated. Other than that, there's no other magic behind this. This is just what it is. You understand? This is just what it is. And I got like, there ain't no clock in here. I forgot 2 hours up in this piece. So we'll end it right there, and then I'll get back to it. You know what I'm saying? But right now, this is just what it is, right? This is just what it is. Hey, man. Let me get some water too. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace. I'm out.